Y'all, like, yeah, stay strong, brothers.
Then I guess young men just won't watch their stuff anymore. It's not exactly rocket science, but holy fuck. This article and others like it will explore every possible explanation except the simplest and most obvious one. And I think we know why. It actually kind of reminds me of all those articles cropping up on feminist websites these days decrying the lack of male attention after those very same sites spent
Men just leave women alone. Okay?
Complaining about men being too forward, too assertive, too interested, too creepy, and gosh darn it, why can't they just leave us all alone?
Leave me alone.
Gee, I wonder why they're not interested in dating anymore. It's a total
It's because women want both. They want guys that they're attracted to pursue them relentlessly, and they also
nation, except the simplest and most obvious one. And I think we know why. It actually kind of reminds me of all those articles cropping up on feminist websites these days decrying the lack of male attention after those very same sites spent
Men just leave women alone.
Pick your hero.
Okay.
Or villain. I'm not judging.
Complaining about men being too forward, too assertive, too interested, too creepy, and gosh darn it, why can't they just leave us all alone? Gee, I wonder why they're not interested in dating anymore. It's a total
It's because women want both. They want guys that they're attracted to pursue them relentlessly, and they also want guys that they're not attracted to never talk to them. Like, this is the issue that a lot of people have, and like you can see this dichotomy that's represented in a lot of these romance novels, where it's like usually an aggressive, assertive man, but this man just happens to be a billionaire vampire who it happens to also be very attractive.
30 seconds.
Like, that's the difference.
Get ready.
To me too, ladies. The irony is that Disney already had access to some of the biggest and most successful male-focused brands in history. And yes, both Star Wars and Marvel were decidedly male brands.
100% for guys. Like, Star Wars is 100%. It's not even a question.
That doesn't mean the ladies couldn't enjoy them too, and many did in fact, but if I had to choose a gender most likely to gravitate towards a franchise of space battles, adventure, ships and technology, heroism and epic struggles...
And also, by the way, brutal violence where people are getting cut in half. This is a guy thing. It is.
Of the universe. Yeah, it's gonna be men. And that right there is perfectly okay. Men are allowed to have stuff that they like, and a lot of the time, that stuff is going to be quite different from what women like. The problem is that only one side is ever expecting to compromise and make concessions to accommodate the other. And
That's exactly the problem. He's totally right about this. It's that, like, anything that men like, men are expected to compromise and default to what women like. But I think that when men express that they like something, women usually attack them.
A little hint here, it's not women. Like, could you imagine for 1 second if they did a reboot of Sex and the City? Sorry, wait, another reboot. Only this time half the female characters were gender swapped. The glamour and sophistication of the New York social scene was replaced with muscle cars and guns and girls in bikinis, and every episode had to include some tedious subtext about how difficult modern life is for men to navigate. I don't think it would go down very well, but there seems to be this weird cultural taboo around the idea of male-focused anything now, like catering specifically to men as a demographic is some moral crime that has to be addressed.
That's exactly right. He's totally right about this. This is the issue, is that so many people, and I think that there's a lot of guys that do this too. The reason why I think guys play into this is actually extremely simple. I think they do it as a mating technique. This is guys that act like simps and like losers in order to make girls like them. They want to smash? Yeah, exactly. Like, guys don't act like this. Too many pussified men? No. The same guys that you think are pussified, like, I've had friends like this that grew up to be kind of like that. The moment that, like, we're outside of that spectrum...
Keep going.
Bro, we're saying slurs all the time. We're using slurs all the time. Bro, we're talking about, like, all kinds of shit that, like, you know, he's supposed to say, oh, no, that's not it. Yeah, immediately, bro. Instantaneously... Factory reset back to 11th grade. Yep, they're undercover. Exactly. It's performative. It is. And I think that a lot of the guys, they do it for that reason.
This should keep us safe.
For them to see that or show that, like, oh, I'm one of the good ones.
Just incorrectly, instead of a smart and logical business decision from a company that should be all about giving the customer what they want. In the case of those male-oriented franchises that used to be a license to print money because they used to understand their customers, the problem wasn't just the clunky attempts to court a female audience with a sudden influx of pandering, poorly written girl bosses who could magically do anything and were always right about everything, even women hate.
That's the issue too, is that like also like the characters are just bad on top of everything. It's because the characters are bad because the writers self-insert themselves, except for nobody likes them.
That
That's
shit
it.
because they were more than smart enough to see right through it.
Yep.
No, the bigger problem was the active sabotage, marginalization, destruction, and outright pussification of the male characters to make.
Yes. And so that's the issue, is that it's not a problem for you to make a movie or a story that is women-centric.
30 seconds
But if
before
you
you
do
attack.
that,
Get
and
ready.
you also do it at the expense of male representation, and you make men look like they are incompetent. Like, this is a good question, right? How many of these, like, fucking comedies and, like, of these sitcom shows is the man in the sitcom intelligent, like, morally good, the provider of the household, and
The battle
not the
starts
butt
in
of every
5,
joke?
4,
Zero,
3,
basically, right?
2, 1.
Zero. So there's always some
need to
way
do
or
is
another
capture the mission area.
that usually
Got
the
it?
guy is a retard and the wife or the mother is the smart one that's measured and intelligent and normal. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, they're always the punching bag. Yeah, that's the problem. And so a lot of guys don't like that. So they would they rather watch that or would they rather watch Spy Family? There you go. Easy fucking decision. Instant, easiest decision of your life.
This is real.
Why do you think it started? 2014. Got really bad. That's whenever identity politics were going on the internet. You got a lot of like feminists on the internet causing trouble. And before that, I think it started getting bad. Probably, my dad tells me that it started getting bad in Vietnam. He said that it was a bunch of pussy boys who were afraid of going to war. And so they decided to turn into hippies to avoid getting drafted. And as soon as the war was over, the hippie movement ended because they weren't afraid of getting drafted anymore. And he said basically, like, whenever he was growing up, everything was great. You know, like you would turn on the TV and it would be, you know, the show called, I think called like Victoria C. And the entire thing would just literally basically highlight reels, kill cams of fucking us fighting back the Japanese in Pearl Harbor or us taking over an area in Nazi Germany. And that was it, right? And so like that was the whole thing. And inside, so that's basically what it was. Is that like he thinks that Vietnam and like that whole cultural movement is what kind of put everything on the downturn. And I think the internet was like a bastion from that until 2014. Y'all see what I'm saying? Like I wasn't there, I'm not that old. But like that's it.
Watch me.
Hey, wait for them. I've been over this kind of thing a million times before, so I'm not going to bore you with all the examples like Han, Luke, Indiana Jones, Thor, Kylo Ren, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Nick Fury, and about 100 others I could name. The list of cultural assassinations is frankly mind-boggling at this point. The point, though, is that instead of becoming more accessible to women, these franchises instead became increasingly hostile towards men,
That's
especially...
the perfect way to say it. Yeah, it's not about making it appeal to women, it's about making it not appeal to men. And so they actively desexualize things, they actively work against and they subvert the traditional male fantasy. And guess what? A lot of guys don't appreciate that.
a young and impressionable man who could really use some positive role models.
Maintainers wrote the story. Oh, I've seen this before. Like those ones, but like the amount of girls that are on the internet that are pushing out a bunch of man hate. These are girls that you know, like their dad was mean to them, or like they had a boyfriend that was an asshole or something like that. It's all just personal unresolved trauma that's being dumped on the internet collectively as a whole. And this isn't a gender exclusive issue, like men do the same thing. You know, like the whole like Andrew Tate like brand of like thinking. And so I'm not like, women don't have a monopoly on this, but women do have a monopoly on doing it in a way that's socially acceptable. And I think that's really what the problem is. It's that you have women that are doing this and it's somehow justified and it's okay. But meanwhile, if a guy does this, it's like, oh my God, you can't act this way.
There too. Instead, they found themselves getting lectured, berated, and disrespected by a studio that seemed to actively hate them. And that's the funny thing about young men, you see. They can, and often do, put up with a lot of shit in their daily lives, but the one thing they won't put up with...
Well, this is the other thing too, is like, especially nowadays, like young guys, if you were... This is the issue, right? It's like, if you're kind of like an average, like kind of a dumb guy, right? You're not really a super smart guy. You're like an 85, 88, 89, 93 IQ guy. Like, you could have gotten a job back in the day working and doing something and you'd be all right, but now a lot of those jobs are automated, and so you're getting patronized. And at the same time, like, women have a lot of these opportunities, especially when they're young, to make a lot of money, right? Things like OnlyFans. And again, it's not like every girl's doing OnlyFans, of course not. But I think that it's the perception, the society expectation. Like, women nowadays, whenever they're entering the workforce, young women make a considerable amount more money than young men do in the workplace. No matter the cost. Why is that? It is the direct effect of deliberate DEI initiatives to disenfranchise men and to empower women at their expense. That's the reason. It was never about equality. Equality was just one step on the stairway to supremacy. And that's what you have now. We hate corporate life as well. Yeah, that's why you have HR running everything, and you're getting tone policed constantly because you say something in a way that hurts one person's feelings. It's ridiculous. And so, and I by the way, I just straight up say this shit. I know that some people are gonna get mad that I say it as raw as I do. But somebody's got to. Somebody has to, and that's where it's at. And so, again, they even made Boyle up about, I don't know about that kindergarten ethics. Yeah, exactly. And it's never really about equality. Yes, the HR is only, yeah, it's HR, fucking relationship, not relationship, reputation, you know, fucking assassination, weird shit like this. And guys are taught, like, you know, like a lot of, you know, like male bonding and the way that guys act growing up, every way that guys act growing up that is in any way physical or has any friction or is coarse in any regard, this is all massively stamped down by schooling. And meanwhile, schooling is catered towards making it accessible and the most appealing for women. That's mainly what happens. Who pushes who changes? Women do, and men that want to fuck the women that do. That's the people that push the changes, primarily. And so, anyway, now you have a lot of these guys, and so they're like, well, I'm getting fucked in my real life. I'm losing out on internship opportunities. I'm losing out on scholarship opportunities. I'm losing out on, you know, like this, that, and the other thing, the hiring process, because I'm not part of this group. Primarily, you know, like, again, do you want to know who the biggest beneficiaries of DEI are? It's not black people, it's white women. Those are the ones that are really winning out of DEI. They're the ones that are actually getting hired because of these processes. Yeah, it's fucking Karens, that's it. And so this is the Karen industrial complex, where men are systematically disenfranchised, demoralized, made fun of, and made to submit to humiliation rituals throughout their entire life. The media is just a further propagandized humiliation ritual. And at a certain point, a lot of men tap the fuck out and they go on the internet. That's why people are like this on the internet. And that's also the reason why, again, foreign types of media has become so popular with modern audiences. That's why anime is so popular. That's why something like Berserk is popular. It's popular because it's something that it's made for them as an audience. One Piece is made for guys. The guy who makes it says that. Shonen literally is like young boy anime in fucking Japan. So when you're making content that is deliberately antagonistic to a group of people, big surprise, they don't watch. I know this is maybe a rant. I think it's true. It's very true.
It's disrespect, especially from a fucking company that wants to make their hard-earned money for the privilege. Add
We
all
hate
these
you, not
factors
pay us.
together, and you get a conclusion so simple and obvious that I can't believe I'm even having to say it, but here we are. When you decide to treat half your audience as the enemy, that's exactly what you turn them into.
Yep.
You really do get what you fucking deserve, and in this case, Disney deserves to lose half their audience because they gave them absolutely no reason to stick around. But
Well,
you
they
know,
gave them more than that. They gave them a reason to leave.
what? Rather than signing off with some smarmy little fuck you, I want to pull something positive out of this situation because it seems like even Disney are beginning to acknowledge how badly they've done wrong. Yeah.
I don't think that the modern studios will be able to recover from this, by the way. I don't think so. I think the only way that we can hope to get anything better in the next like 10 or 15 years at least is for new studios to emerge, because what I think happens is that these studios get infected with these groups of people and they totally take over the studio. They're like a cancer. And once you have enough of them, the studio is completely infected and it will never get better. I think a great example of this is Blizzard. Blizzard is never going to make a base badass video game again. They're never going to make a cinematic that even has 10% of the fucking testosterone that the Warlords of Draenor cinematic had. Like, it's not even gonna be remotely close. It's dead. It's dead, and you can see that with the new cinematics. You've got elves that look like... Who the fuck wants to look like a middle-aged woman? Nobody. Especially not middle-aged women. That's why they get plastic surgery. So what the fuck are you doing adding them into the story that nobody wants to see? You're retarded. Same with Mortal Kombat. They look like 45-year-old soccer moms going to a Pilates class. Who the fuck wants to see that? Nobody. I'm just being, look.
You're welcome.
That's just it. Everybody knows this.
Yeah, the admission's only been forced grudgingly out of them by sheer financial necessity, but it's something at least. And never let it be said that the drinker doesn't offer a helping hand to those in need. So if I could offer a few pieces of advice, speaking as someone of the male persuasion here, I'd say they have to come to terms with a few realities about their situation. The first reality is that not everything you make can appeal to everyone, and nor should you try. Movies like Barbie and Top Gun Maverick are proof that when you target a specific audience and give them exactly what they want without trying to dilute it down in the hopes of appealing to an even bigger market, you can and will make an absolute fortune. The second reality is that any project revolving around adventure, science fiction, action, or
If there's ever a story about an oath to your kingdom, an obligation to your family lineage or heritage, you having to uphold your honor against insurmountable forces, and there is gratuitous violence that is used in order to achieve those goals, you are looking at what I would call the male fantasy. That's for guys. It's not for girls. It's not that girls can't enjoy it. Many of them do. But it's for guys.
technology, like say, I don't know, Star Wars and Marvel, is probably gonna skew male. I don't know what to tell you, man, but men and women tend to be interested in different things, and no amount of social conditioning or deconstruction is ever gonna change that. And if they're your two biggest franchises that you probably
And the
want...
problem also is the toxic positivity that this culture is enforcing inside of workplaces. Because if you're the guy that says, you know what, maybe we shouldn't have a bald, fat, middle-aged woman replace the hot girl in latex that was in the previous movie in this remake, you get called a sexist, you get called a misogynist, you get called a bad person, and they destroy your character, and you end up getting fired, and you lose your career. That's the issue. That's where, you lose your job, right? Yeah, you're peer pressured into quitting, exactly. And so instantly canceled? No, you are. Like, that's really what happened. And do you have bed bugs? I don't have bed bugs. Who the fuck is bed bugs? I'll be right back. Sorry about I use that. But yeah, no, I love this video. This is so good. How'd you end up enjoying Freerun, even though it isn't aimed at guys? Because it's a good story, and truly beautiful and great stories will transcend gender boundaries. Like Lord of the Rings, like Freerun, like the Bible. That's the reason why. And also, it does appeal to men. Himmel the hero is great. Like, you've got tons of characters in that story. There's no men in that story that are just like these,
30 seconds before
you
your
know,
attack.
like basically
Get ready.
feminist caricatures or minstrel plays of what a tough guy is supposed to be. Yeah, Stark is there too. Yeah, Stark isn't. He's not a loser. Like, he's a goofboy a little bit. Yeah, sure, but he's not.
How's that?
He's not a joke. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly, and that's the
Battle
difference.
starts in 5, 4,
To resurrect and get profitable
2,
again,
1.
then you're going to have to accept that your primary
All you need to do is
demographic
capture
is
the
men
missionary.
and
That's right.
cater the
Got it?
content accordingly.
Of course.
The third reality is that you need to bring back masculine heroes if you want to get a male audience back.
Wow, what a surprise! If you want to have guys watch your characters or watch the show, you have to make the show about guys. Can you believe that? Wow, what a surprise!
And I'm not talking about the safe, feminized, corporate-approved Pedro Pascal brand of
Another
It's just some game shit, bro. Like, guys don't like that. I'm sorry, they don't. They don't. Like, I don't care what somebody wants to say. It doesn't sell. It doesn't fucking sell. It's obvious that it doesn't fucking sell. Stop trying to sell it. If you do, you're gonna fail. That's the reason.
masculinity that's basically just a woman with a moustache, but the actual male archetype of masculinity that's been practically outlawed in modern media. Men who are smart, capable, assertive, confident, complex, and maybe even a bit dangerous, who don't resort to verbal diarrhea or fold like a house of cards the moment a woman challenges them on something. Those are the kinds of characters that men have been drawn to for decades, and guess what?
No, millenniums. You go back at stories in the Bible, and it's like this. You go back and you look at stories in the Odyssey, it's like this. This is fucking Beowulf. This Samson, yes, exactly. It's not like they just invented this in the, like, you know, in like the 1900s we invented master. No, this is the way it's been for fucking ever. It's been this way for forever. Or if I said decades, yeah.
Still are.
Nah,
and no
it's
amount
been
of
a
guilt
while.
tripping or toxic masculinity bullshit is ever going to change that. The fourth and final reality is that everyone, men and women both, are fucking sick of girl bosses. They are, without a doubt, one of the most obnoxious products of modern culture. They've ruined practically everything they've been crowbarred into, and they
Yep. And I think behind every girl boss is a fat feminist writer with a nose earring.
to go. That
That's
doesn't
the
mean
way
for
it
one
is.
second that you can't have intelligent, complex, capable, and well-written female characters that
Yep.
push and rival their male
Or a soy
counterparts.
boy.
In
Yep.
fact, you absolutely should. But the days of one-sided contests where women always have to win to put men in their place, or invincible power fantasies that are either the writer's revenge fanfiction or walking inferiority complexes
Yeah,
are
revenge fan fiction. That's a good one.
well and truly over. Women don't relate to them, and men, particularly young men that have been force-fed a diet of this crap for most of their lives, are actively repulsed by anything that has them in it. Now, all of this stuff...
Yeah, I get, like, to me, whenever I see a character like that, like, there's a lot of things in video games, so, like, this is a good... Like, if I can't tell the gender of characters in a game, I immediately assume the game will be garbage. Unless, of course, this is something like Pokemon. And then I hope you're not able to tell the gender of the characters. But otherwise, I do. Like, and again, it's because nobody wants to see this. Nobody wants to see it. It's weird. Dark Souls, Windowing. One, see, you're talking about like one character that's imprisoned at the bottom of Anor Londo because his dad thought he was a femboy and his dad was embarrassed about him. You're really trying to use that as an example? I think you're proving my point. Yeah, there's one boss.
This seems completely obvious and common sense to you, but fuck me, it feels like common sense is in short supply in Hollywood these days. But I think the big takeaway from all of this is that men as a demographic are not all that difficult to please. Treat
No.
them with a bit of respect.
That's the crazy thing, is that it's actually like it's so easy to get guys to watch something. It's so easy to get guys to be interested in something. Why is it that you have to reinvent the wheel every time? We're talking. What was this here? And then you were tired of the same female characters getting made fun of, and they turn to a green giant creature and scream no? Well, I don't know about that. I never watched the fucking She-Hulk. I mean, it was just, why would I watch it? It wasn't made for me. Why would I watch it?
Give them the things that they enjoy, and you'll be surprised how quickly they come
Look like
around.
garbage.
On the other hand, ignore and attack them as well. And you'll see where that road leads.
Yep.
Onk, I presume?
Anyway, that's all I've got for today.
Almost about out.
Go away now.
Fucking base. I love this video. He's completely right. Yes, the entire film industry, and especially the like corporate film industry, has spent the last decade demonizing, delegitimizing, and caricaturing men as being retarded, and now men don't want to be told that they're retarded. What a surprise. What a shock. Give the video a like. Critical Drinker, I think he's fucking great. So yeah, there it is. And you should watch K-Pop Demon Hunters. I don't know what the hell that is. So no matter how much we talk about it, Disney doesn't listen. It doesn't matter if Disney listens. That's the point that you're not getting. Is that even if Disney doesn't listen, it doesn't make a difference because there are so many other people out there that are. So it's the same as like Blizzard. Oh wow, Blizzard that, Blizzard that. You don't need to play Overwatch anymore. You can just go play Marvel Rivals. You just play another game, and now everybody is just doing that instead. So that's really what the difference is. The problem is that there have to be audiences and opportunities that are in other places, and now they are. So yeah, let's see here if I can find it. And having something like Livermore every day, finding something to complain about with every corner. You say that, bro. Like everybody says that, but this is a fact. This is the same thing I've been complaining about for a while. And also, like the more you can't go and. I understand that there's a lot of like left-wing liberal people that think that, oh, if I use the word that you use against me, against you, you're going to agree with me. This is not going to work. It doesn't work. It's emotional manipulation. It's dishonest emotional manipulation. Nobody takes it seriously. It's not effective. Nobody believes it. It's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing, like, oh wow, you're being woke because you don't like something, and like you don't like woke stuff. You're not going to use that on people and then have them actually capitulate to you. Now, they might think that it's funny and you might trick some people with it, but trying to do it is just, it's so blatantly dishonest that you're not going to appeal to anybody like that.
Over here, I can heal you.
I think that a lot of modern characters are extremely like, this is a huge problem with gaming. I think this is especially true, like, this is especially true of, like, American games.
I am ready to put on a show.
Trajectory of what humans perceive as strength, not only in entertainment media, but even in influencers and perceived role models.
Yeah.
This is a steady decline that has been gradually moving towards shaping the very definition of strength. To me, this is actually quite a fascinating topic because of how blind a lot of people are to what is actually happening. Almost as though they know the counterfeit better than the genuine. What do I mean?
They do. Because it's the lack and the absence of positive masculine role models. Because any form of masculinity is viewed as either, oh, that's not just masculinity, that's just being a good person, or it's viewed as being bad.
Try this. There is an interesting phenomenon called perceptual expertise that I'll use as an illustration. Anyone who handles cash on a constant basis, especially in a profession, gain an incredible ability to easily identify counterfeits.
Sure, yeah.
Now, something I find insane about this phenomenon is that it isn't actually taught. It is grown through exposure.
Yeah.
Bank tellers and cashiers handle genuine banknotes all day. This constant, repeated exposure allows them to develop an intuitive sense of what feels right. The texture.
No, this is true because like I can smell a Coke and I will know whether it is a Diet Coke, a no sugar Coke, or a regular Coke. All I have to do is smell it. I don't even need to taste it. I can look at the difference between a Dr. Pepper and a Coke, like just visually, and I can tell just based off of the color of the syrup.
color, weight,
not even
print
kidding.
clarity, and even embedded features of real currency.
Serious.
Over time, they built this mental prototype or baseline of what authentic notes look like. So when a counterfeit does come along, it stands out.
Yep.
Not necessarily because the cashier knows exactly what's wrong, but because it doesn't match the baseline that's naturally unfamiliar. Their brain subconsciously flags it as unfamiliar or off. Now you could probably see where I'm going with this. I believe that a lot of modern writers and influencers are more exposed to a counterfeit strength than they are to actual genuine. So to them, genuine strength is foreign, and they probably even see it as weakness. Unfortunately, it also seems like this is slowly becoming the norm.
Well, it's becoming the norm, and one of the big reasons why it's the norm is because that's the thing that a lot of kids want. A lot of the people that watch people like Andrew Tate or Sneeko or whatever that are looking for like life advice, these are like lost souls and like weird kids. That's the big issue. And so like you have a bunch of like little weird kids that think that the coolest thing that you can possibly do, because like when you're 14, right? I mean, you're gonna think that a guy that has big muscles and he has a fast car that's expensive and he has like a bunch of girlfriends, like that's like it doesn't get better than that. And so the real problem isn't necessarily that. It's the fact that all of these things are, I mean, let's be real, like it's made for kids.
I dive into what
All their viewer base are